laying down. And if you want to play music tonight, you're welcome to play whatever you want. Or I did send over a playlist. I didn't put any, this is like an old playlist. I didn't put anything together today since it was the first day of school and things were a little, yeah, you know, I wasn't really thinking about it. So anyway, yeah, just get started lying down in constructive rest, I'm thinking. So let's see here. I know there are a couple more people who will likely trickle in. Perfect. But for now, here we are. And settled into the floor, just take a couple of really deep breaths. Allow your lungs to completely deflate. Breathe it all out. When you reach the bottom, pause there for a moment and then breathe in as fully and completely as you can. Good, and then just repeat a few more of those, moving slowly right out of the gate. Slow, slow breaths. Good, and in your constructive rest, if it feels good to have your knees touch in the middle, then bring them to touch, and you might even walk your feet out a little bit further than you're used to, so that you're getting a really big internal rotation of your hip sockets, or your femurs and your hip sockets, I should say. So maybe even walking your feet out a little wider than your mat. I'm just gonna stretch my arms overhead here, but you might keep your arms alongside you. Just continuing to breathe really slowly and deeply. Yeah, noticing the way your knees and your ankles feel. Taking notice of your lower back and your tailbone. Another few deep breaths like this in the exaggerated constructive rest. Good, and then from here, begin to kind of wiggle your feet in towards the middle. We're gonna bring the soles of the feet together and drop the knees out wide and take a recline down angle. So just moving the hips in a couple different ways, really slowly as we get started. Good, for 5 breaths or so, notice the way your lower belly moves. Good, and then from here, let's just bring the soles of the feet back down to the floor and point the knees up, and we'll send the left foot up towards the ceiling and rotate the ankle around, and you're welcome to grab a hold of the back of that left thigh if you want to, or you might just let the leg be free. But really moving that ankle around and taking notice of how the rest of your leg responds to that. And what are you feeling down the back of the leg? Good, another 3 breaths. And then let's place that left ankle on top of the right knee and hug the right thigh into the chest for your figure 4. If you haven't already started music and you want to, you're welcome to. I just realized I probably didn't cue to turn it on. Good, and notice your left hip here. The entire lower back. Good, soften your jaw and your tongue. And a few more big exhales. Right, coming on out of this, let's send both feet up towards the ceiling. Just kind of pick up the pelvis and set it back down a couple of times, strengthening through the lower belly a little bit. Good, you might take your hands and press them down to the floor beside you, or even take them underneath your lower back. Good, gently massaging the middle of the back as well. Great, and then we'll leave that right foot up and set the left foot down and take your ankle rotations on the right side this time. Good. Great, observe the back of that right leg. The sole of the foot. Perfect. Yeah, and then from here, go ahead and just set that right foot down. We'll take the feet a little wide and swing the knees from side to side here. A little windshield wiper action. Notice the muscles of your lower belly here. Good. One more breath. And then we'll take those feet back up, legs nice and long. And then your choice, you can continue to lift the hips if you like that feeling of strengthening in the lower belly. Okay, you might decide to pick up the head and shoulders and kind of hold still. Or maybe you're somehow doing both, I don't know. It's always a possibility, I guess. But really using our belly, warming our core. Good, just a couple more breaths. Great, go ahead and set yourself back down. Soles of the feet to the floor. Let's scoot the hips off to the left and drop the knees over to the right for your reclined twist. Good. Yeah, and see if your shoulders could use a little scooch, maybe like away from the pelvis or left or right, so that your spine and shoulders feel a bit more comfortable. Good, one more breath. Great, come on back through to the center and we'll just take it quickly on over to the other side, scooting the hips right, dropping the knees left. Gorgeous. Come on back through to the center. Yeah, and then we're gonna make our way up onto hands and knees. So you might rock along the spine a few times. Or maybe you wanna roll up to your side, sip some water, come up to hands and knees. Good, maybe you rock and take a little boat before finding hands and knees. Good, but then eventually, yeah, we will all just get there. Maybe using a little blanket for padding under the knees. And let's start by moving the spine just a little bit in your own way. So whatever feels like the best way today, maybe it's a little like traditional cat and cow, or maybe it's a little wilder than that, than those domesticated creatures. Maybe you're a little bit undomesticated this evening, I don't know. Good. All right, and then we're going to take that right hand underneath the face, reach the left arm nice and high, and thread the needle here. Good. As you thread the needle, cross one of your ankles over the other, allowing for that sense of groundedness in the lower body. Good. 2 more breaths. And then come on out of this and reach that left arm up nice and high towards the ceiling. You're going to stand up on the knees, take the left hand to the lower back, and reach the right arm up for kind of like a little mini half camel. You might look up here, maybe not. Good, and then just sweep yourself into a child's pose. Good. Right, from your child's pose, moving back up onto hands and knees. And as you get there, again, just taking movements that make sense, but it might be nice to pay some attention to your wrists and to your ankles. Maybe turn your hands around, fingertips towards the knees. You might tuck your toes. Good. And eventually that left hand will be down, the right hand's gonna reach up towards the ceiling, big broad stretch. As you exhale, slide the right arm underneath the left. Yeah, good. Thread the needle here, cross those ankles, get cozy for a sec. Good, and as you come on out of it, we're going to reach that right arm up towards the ceiling and then circle it down and around towards your lower back, standing up onto the knees, and take your half camel here. Left arm reaches high. Good. Yeah, feel your hands supporting your back. Great, and then go ahead and make your way back into your child's pose, curling up into a little ball. And a few deep breaths here, your head heavy into the floor. Good, take your time to find a downward facing dog. As you pedal out here, take a moment to really focus on the sensation of what's happening at the bottom of your feet. You notice how far apart your toes are spread. And see if you can identify a little sensation in each one of your toe pads. Good. As you inhale, look in between the hands. And then exhale to move your feet on up to the top of the mat. Let's take a good standing forward fold here. So for maybe 7 or 8 breaths, we're gonna hang out. And maybe it's a little swing from side to side, clasping the elbows. Right? Maybe it's you grabbing a hold of your toes or tugging your hair. Yep. Good. Few more deep breaths. Yeah, perfect. And then really slowly begin to roll yourself up to standing. And we're going to stand up in mountain pose for a moment. Right, your eyes can be closed or open. Feet can be any distance, but I kind of like hip socket distance. And take notice of your shoulders here and let them be kind of active, but also not, super clenched. Kind of want to pull them back, but not clench them too much. Good. And notice your fingers reaching towards the ground. Right, as you inhale and sweep your arms up and overhead, grab a hold of your elbows if that's available to you. And then slowly begin to fold yourself forward again over two long legs. Great, inhale, halfway lift, palms to shins. Exhale, plant your palms down and step it or walk it or hop it on back to your flow. So it could be chaturanga, it could be you stepping back to down dog or hands and knees. And this is your time to do what you need to do. Good, and as you make it back into your downward dog, just let that head drop. Awesome. Let it be nice and heavy. Good, a deep breath in through the nose, look forward, and then exhale to step, walk, or hop on up to the top. Breathing in for a halfway lift. And then exhale and fold yourself forward again. Good, inhale all the way up, reach nice and high. The biggest stretch of the day, maybe. Who knows? Who knows what you've done so far? Yeah, and then let's sit down into chair pose here, really warming up the body. Sit down into that awkward shape. If there's anything that I think we all need more of, it's like practice with awkwardness and having to deal. Good, sit down a little bit lower maybe, just for a moment. Yeah, and then fold yourself forward over two long legs. Interlace your fingers behind your low back and press your knuckles up. Nice. Turn your head from side to side. Great. Release those arms. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your palms down and step it, walk it, or hop it back, high to low plank. Yeah, anything will do here. And a deep breath in through the nose and out through the nose. Inhale, look forward from your down dog. Exhale, step, walk, or hop on up to the top. Breathe in, halfway lift. Exhale, plant those palms down, and we're gonna step back into high plank again. So as you come back into your high plank, this might be a plank with the knees down. All right, it might be a plank with your forearms down. And then let's rock over to one side. So picking your favorite side first for side plank. You can drop that bottom knee down if you wish. You can stack or stagger the feet. Good. Really feeling the side of the body warm up, and then bring both hands back down. I'm gonna look in between the hands. Take a downward facing dog, actually, just for a moment to take some pressure off the shoulders. Good. And then let's roll forward again into your high plank or your forearm plank and just take it right on over to the other side. So again, that side belly really lifting. Awesome. Good, come back through to the center, shift it back into downward dog, and then go ahead and take a walk back, hands back towards the feet, standing forward fold at the back of the mat. Good, inhale, come all the way up, reach nice and high. Take a full overhead stretch, Urdhva Hastasana. Good, and then the hands can come down to the lower back for standing camel if you wish, dropping that head back. pointing the chin high. Good. Go ahead and sit down nice and low into your chair pose. And in this chair pose, hands can come together at the heart perhaps. And we'll take twists, again, just to whichever side you prefer first. Maybe it's, yeah, it doesn't matter. Just go the way you like to go. We'll get to the other side eventually. As you focus in here, notice those side belly muscles again, the lower back too. You come back through to the center and shift it on over to the other side, finding your twist. Nice. Yes, special attention, side belly. Good. Come on back through to the center and then just pour yourself over your legs. Standing forward fold. Good. Inhale, halfway lift. Nice strong back. Exhale, walk the hands forward, downward facing dog. Good. As you inhale, raise the right leg up and back behind you. Lift it nice and high and then step it in between your hands. Drop your left knee down. And then find a low lunge of your choice. So it could be, yeah, arms up. It could be hands to blocks or knee. Perfect. Good. Just taking notice of the hips. Good. Softening that jaw. One more deep breath in. As you exhale, hands come down to frame your right foot. Shift the hips back into a runner's stretch here. So you can keep that left knee down. Good. You might fold over that right thigh. And as you fold over that thigh, perhaps you're also flexing your right foot. Good. And then from here, let's take both hands down to the floor and we're gonna swing around into a standing wide angle. So you'll walk your hands to the left, feet a little bit wide here. Good. Fold yourself in. Let your head drop down. Good. And then the right hand comes underneath the face. Reach the left arm up high. Take your twist. And again, focus on those side belly muscles kind of lifting and drawing in. Good. Feel your feet on the floor. And then set that left hand down, walk both hands around to the top of the mat. We're going to shift back into downward facing dog. Good. As you inhale, roll forward, take your high plank, and then exhale, lower yourself down. Breathe in, scoop up the heart. And come on back, down dog, child's pose, whatever you need for a few moments. Good. Good, just a couple more deep breaths here. Right, as you breathe in, raise that left leg up and back, and then step it through between your hands. Set the right knee down, and find your low lunge. Yeah, whatever it needs to look like. Yeah, your hands could be on your hips. You might be taking a little bit of like a collarbone opening pose here. Drawing the shoulder blades towards each other. Good, a big inhale. And as you exhale, shift it on back. Take your runner's stretch. Maybe flexing through that left foot as you fold over the left thigh. Good. Rebend that left knee, bring both hands around to the right. We're just gonna swing into our standing wide angle. Gonna let the head drop way down here. Yeah, and then eventually the left hand will come underneath the face, reach that right arm up nice and high. Great, set that right hand down, walk both hands back around to the top of the mat. Take your downward facing dog. Good, rolling forward into high plank. Exhale, lower yourself down. Breathe in, pick up the heart, press into the hands, and take it on back, downward facing dog again. Great, as you inhale, raise that right leg up and back behind you. And then exhale to set that right foot down in between your hands at the top of the mat. Drop your left knee down, and then inhale, sweep those arms up and overhead. Take a nice big stretch here. Good. And then take your right hand down to your right hip, and you're just gonna tip your upper body over to the right. That left arm's gonna reach up and over. And you might even take a little bit of a subtle back bend and observe how that left hip feels. Good, and then let's come back to the center. Set that left hand down to the ground. Pick up your right knee, tucking those toes underneath. And we're gonna take a twisted lunge. So that right hand's gonna reach up. Good, and the left hand's gonna be down. Good, a deep breath in. And as you exhale, walk both hands around to the left. We're gonna drop down into like a low half squat here. So the right leg is long and that left knee is really bent. Good, take notice of your left ankle, your knee. Yeah, big inhale. And then let's shift ourselves back around to the top of the mat. And we're gonna come into a pyramid pose. So step that left foot in halfway or so. Right foot presses into the floor. And here in pyramid, you can keep your hands connected to the ground, or you might consider taking a balance of sorts, maybe reaching your arms back behind you, or interlacing your fingers behind your back and pressing your knuckles up. Good, really feel your feet on the floor, keeping you steady. Good, and then go ahead and set those hands down. Step it forward, standing forward fold. As you inhale, come all the way up, reach nice and high. Take a big overhead stretch. And then exhale, sit down in chair pose. And take your arms out in front of you here and kind of reach forward while simultaneously sitting back kind of far. Good, breathe out, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your palms down. Step it back to downward dog and move through the flow that you want to take this evening. Good, maybe it's the plank and all of that, or maybe you just want to hang here or even find some rest. Good, as you breathe in, extend that left leg up and back behind you, and then step your left foot forward. We'll drop the right knee down again and come back up into the low lunge. Yeah, your arms up and overhead for a moment. Great, and then take your left hand down to your left hip crease, or maybe your forearm onto your thigh, and a little side stretch here. Yeah, right finger's up and over, and maybe even back a little bit. What feels better. Good, let's set the right hand down on the floor, tuck the right toes, take your twist. Good, left arm reaches high. Good, a big breath in. And then take your left hand down, and we're gonna walk both hands around to the right, deeply bending that right knee and extending that left leg long here. Good. Yeah, and you can choose to keep your hands down, or maybe you wanna play with balance and lift them a little bit. Perfect. Let's start to walk those hands back up to the top of the mat. Step the right foot in a touch. And find your pyramid pose, which could be you doing classic pyramid, hands down, or finding some creative expression with the arms that feels good. Right, steadying your feet. Perfect. All right, we'll go ahead and take both hands down to the top of the mat. Step back, downward facing dog. Okay, feel free to take your flow through. Feel free to spend a little time resting. 5 breaths or so. Good. Alrighty, as you inhale, raise your right leg up and back behind you. And exhale to step the right foot in between your hands. Good, let's come up into a high lunge here. Yeah, so keeping that left knee up, reach both arms super high. And then I'm thinking of a little bit of like a twist / back bend. So wrap your right arm behind your lower back. Reach that left arm up and back behind you. And then maybe that right hand is down on the back of your left thigh. Try to breathe. Great, and then we're gonna kind of swoop ourselves down here, taking that left arm down. We're gonna deeply bend that left knee and reach the right arm high so that right leg is nice and long. Good, finding your little bit of a side body stretch here. Good, and then go ahead and move back into your standing wide angle, but perhaps this time your right hand is on your left calf and your left arm is reaching the cup. Good, slowly walk your hands back around to the top of the mat. Step back, downward facing dog. Yeah, you can roll through your flow, you can hang out in child's pose or wherever feels best for you right now. Take 5 breaths or so to move through. Good, and then we'll all meet back in downward dog or on hands and knees and extend that left leg up and back behind, nice and long. Good, left foot steps through the top of the mat. And let's find the high lunge. Good, so coming up, feeling kind of squared here. Arms reach high. And then we'll take the left hand down around the lower back or to the back of that right thigh and kind of stretch that right arm up and back. Good, take your right hand down. We're gonna walk both hands around to the right, deeply bend the right knee, lift that left arm high, take a little bit of a twist. Good, and then that left hand comes back down. Find your wide angle. Right hand to the outside of the left, or twist the other way if you already went this way. I'm having a hard time remembering which way we went before. Good. One more breath. And we'll set both hands down at the top of the mat. Spin around, step back, downward facing dog. Good. Roll through your flow. Take time for rest. Do your thing. Good. All right, so from your downward facing dog, inhale, raise your right leg up and back behind you. Exhale, step the right foot in between your hands at the top of the mat. And why don't we find a reverse warrior, I think. We'll spin the left heel down. Yeah, and reach that right arm up and back. Okay, your right hand might wrap around your lower back or come to the thigh. Yeah, but a good deep bend in that right knee. And let's shift ourselves here into an extended side angle. So right elbow down on the thigh, or hand to the floor or block. Or if you have a bind that you want to take, you're welcome to do that, reaching that right arm underneath the right thigh. Left arm reaches back behind. Good. Just a couple breaths. Wonderful. Let's bring both hands down to the floor, framing that right foot. We're going to step the left foot in about halfway. Find your pyramid pose again. Chest over the right thigh. You let your head be heavy, your spine be nice and long. Good, and as you inhale, lift up halfway. We're going to take the left hand onto a block or the floor, the right hand to the lower back, and just find a twist in the upper body, stacking your shoulders, one on top of the other. That right hand might reach up here. Good, and then go ahead and set your right hand down. We're going to bend that right knee, step the left foot forward, and come into a little bit of like a floating toe squat here. So your hands could be on the floor, or maybe you're bringing your hands up onto your knees as you balance on the balls of your feet and your toes. Good, you could look forward, or if you really want to challenge yourself, close your eyes for a second. Good, and then let's stand up from here. Let's take the hands together at the heart. Slowly stand up, connect the heels, reach those arms high, big stretch. Exhale, dive forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your palms, step it on back, downward facing dog. Good, breathe in, roll forward, high plank. If you want to go through your flow, go through your flow. Yeah, breathe in, lift that left leg nice and high, and then step the left foot forward, spin the right heel down, reverse warrior. Good, for reverse warrior, set that left elbow down in the left thigh, hand to the floor, or maybe you want to take your bind and wrap your right hand behind your back. See if you can clasp those hands or move them towards each other. Good, as you are ready, come on out of this, unwind, set both hands down at the top of the mat, and hop that right foot forward about halfway. So finding your pyramid pose. Let your head drop way down. Yeah, good. And if you have your block around and want to use it, take your right hand on top of the block, left hand to the hip, or reach it high. Good, and then go ahead and set that left hand back down. Let's hop that right foot up to the top of the mat a little bit. Bend the knees. And settle yourself into this little floaty toe thing again. Good, so yeah, hands could be the blocks or the floor, your knees. You might take your hands together in front of you. Or even reach them overhead. And then we'll stand up from here really slowly. Oh, use your legs. Plant the heels, back bend. Exhale, dive forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your palms down. Step back, downward facing dog. Find your flow if you want to flow.
Mom, I'm going to Undone. I'm going back to Undone.
Good. Deep breath in. Raise your right leg up and back behind you. And then exhale and step your right foot in between your hands at the top of your mat. We're going to come into a standing split here, just lifting that left leg up. And think about using your belly muscles here too. Good. Feel the sides of the belly kind of squeezing inward, low belly lifting. Good. We're going to make our way into a revolved half moon pose. So hand could be on a block here, left hand down. Right hand to the lower back. Or maybe that right hand reaches up here. Good, one more breath. Set that right hand down, and we're just gonna step that left foot to the top of the mat and fold forward over two long legs for a second. You can grab a hold of your big toes and draw your elbows out wide, go ahead and do it. Otherwise, just take your hands to the backs of your legs. Give yourself a little massage. From here, really plug your left foot into the floor. We're gonna wrap the right index finger and middle finger around the right big toe. Left hand might come onto the thigh too. And we're gonna try to stand up, holding onto that right big toe. Good, and then maybe we will cross that right ankle over the left knee and sit down into a half chair. Good, both hands might come down towards the floor here. You might even think about hooking your right toes over your left triceps. Good, we're just gonna unwind ourselves, send that right leg high, and open through the hip. Okay, so finding a half moon pose. Right hand might reach up. Good, and then as you are ready, set that right hand and the right foot down. We're gonna bend the knees deeply and come into our toe squat. And this time we're gonna walk our hands around to the left and just take a little twist. Good, and take notice of how the feet are feeling here, what this twist is like in your spine. Good, slow maybe. Yeah, if you're a side crow person and you want to take your hands down, you could always shift yourself forward, play with the transfer of weight. And you'll know when you're done, and when that time has come, find the center and fold forward again. Good, inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your palms, step back, downward dog. Okay, feel free to roll through your flow here. Feel free to shake something out. Feel free to lie down for a moment. Good. A big inhale will reach that left leg up and back behind. And as you exhale, set that left foot down in between the hands. Walk both hands forward and we'll find that revolved half moon pose. So just taking a moment to engage the muscles of the belly. Right hand will stay down. Left hand to the hip or up. Good, let's come on out of this, setting the right foot down. The left hand drops down to wiggle around for a moment. Good, as you inhale, let's take that left leg up and back behind you, looking for your half moon pose. Yeah, maybe you're playing with some balance and picking the right hand up and away from the floor or your block. Really feeling that foot on the floor. Great, and then we'll set that left foot down, find our little toe squat. And now we'll twist over to the other side. So your left elbow will come to the outside of your right knee. Good, taking a moment to really feel how that's affecting your low back. Maybe easing out of it if you wish. If you like to tip forward into your side crow, you're welcome to go there. Good, and come on back through to the center, standing forward fold. Good, inhale, halfway lift, palms onto shins. Exhale, plant the palm, step back, downward facing dog. And maybe one more hard thing, maybe? That's what I'm thinking. Let's drop the forearms down to the floor in this downward dog, taking a dolphin pose. Yeah, hips stay nice and high. And take notice of how your neck feels here. If it's okay to look down at the floor in between your forearms, then go for it, yeah. You might sneak your toes up towards your elbows or pick one of your legs up or the other. Yeah, or a little kick if you like to take a little kick. Good. Deep breath in. And then go ahead and set yourself down into a child's pose. Oh, hooray. And just feel the floor underneath you. Arrange the arms so that the shoulders can fully relax. Good, and let your jaw find a little bit more ease. Good. And then from here, slide forward onto your belly. And we're just gonna take a half frog pose on your favorite side. So just pull one of your knees up towards the side of your chest. That other leg will remain long behind. Really like hugging the floor. Sometimes we need to do that, apparently. Good, feeling what's underneath you and really sinking into it for a couple of moments here. Good. If you haven't turned your head over to the other side yet, you might try that for a moment in your half frog, just for a breath or two. Good, and then slide that leg nice and long behind you and shift on over to the other side. Bring that other knee up and in. Good, yeah, scooching your hips, your shoulders, turning your head, doing what has to be done so that you can feel pretty settled in your body. Good, and go ahead and take one or two more big breaths here. All right. And then make your way back again, both legs long behind you. And here you might take a full pranam, stretching yourself out on the floor, reaching your arms past your head. Your hands can be positioned any way that's comfortable for your elbows and shoulders and wrists. Feeling the full length of your body touching down. Good, and from here, how about a super locust pose? So your arms nice and long and your legs nice and long. Go ahead and lift them up and away from the floor. And if it feels a lot to have your arms out past your head in this locust, you can take them alongside you too. Good, using the muscles in the back of your body. Perfect. Go ahead and set yourself back down. Turn your head over to the comfortable side. Feel the floor underneath you. Great. And then another back bend of your choice. And I'm thinking of either like a Sphinx pose with your elbows under your shoulders, propping yourself up. If you want to take a bow pose and reach back for your feet with your hands, you're welcome to do that. And then there's the option also to roll over onto your back and take a bridge pose, pressing into the feet and lifting the hips up. That's fine too. Nice. Just a couple more breaths. Good, and when you're ready, go ahead and set yourself down, and if you're not yet on your back, find your back. And I want to gift you with a nice long Shavasana this evening. I feel like Shavasana is what we all really need deep down. A little bit more stillness, right? There's so much movement. So being deliberate about our stillness is certainly a thing. Good, and I read this in my class yesterday morning, but I'm just going to do it again because it's real good. It's from the Tao Te Ching, it's chapter 48. In the pursuit of knowledge, every day something is added. In the practice of the Tao, every day something is dropped. Less and less do you need to force things until finally you arrive at non-action. When nothing is done, nothing is left undone. True mastery can be gained by letting things go their own way. It can't be gained by interfering. I love this idea about dropping things. Allowing things to be let go of. whatever needs to be let go of. Giving yourself some extra space, a little extra freedom. And settling in, find your breath. Try not to interfere. And just begin to slow your breathing again on purpose. And take about 10 more really good slow breaths. And those slow breaths turn into some really easygoing small movement of the fingers and the toes. And a little rock of the head from side to side, perhaps. Letting your eyeballs sit kind of heavy into the sockets. Good, and then why don't we just kind of pull the knees in towards the chest and roll over to one side or the other if your shoulders are okay with that. Curling up into a ball for a moment. Good, and then eventually, yeah, we'll come to sit up. Take your time. No rush. Let's sit up tall for a moment. And take our hands onto our knees and just allow ourselves to be here, kind of unbothered for a second. Just for these next 3 breaths. Good, a big inhale brings your hands to your heart, lifts your heart up. And as you exhale, drop your head down and honor your practice. It's time you spent taking care of yourself today. Oh, and honoring each other too. Thanks everybody, namaste. Thanks for coming this evening.